I don't think we get to keep this. Actually, we're on the play, so I do get to keep this. Because I can just divide by 0 on 3 and then fetch a land on turn 4. That's not a good plan. It's just technically a plan. I feel like I should technically play the Dry Disruption before the CK Restoration on the odd chance that I want to pay 3 life at some point. Which, like, if I draw exactly Hall of the Storm Giants into the 4-mana ramp spell, that's probably something I would have wanted to do. I'm sorry, my opponent revealed Siege Dragon. 7 mana, 5/5 flyer. Destroy all walls your opponents control. When Siege Dragon attacks, if defending player controls no walls, it deals 2 damage to each creature without flying. Why am I getting matched up against these decks currently? I mean, I might lose this just because my opponent does have Fearsome Whelp. Okay. Goldvein Pick, which presumably gets equipped to this Fearsome Whelp? No. Does not get equipped to the Fearsome Whelp. I see. Is that because they are going to play another Fearsome Whelp? Nope. Okay. I guess I got for 1 damage because they didn't do that. So I could Environmental Sciences here. I can't Teachings because if I miss on a land drop, I don't get to Teachings anyway. Okay, discover the formula, not what we were looking for. Our Environmental Sciences is looking a lot better here, though. I'm legitimately in danger this game. Fearsome Whelp is a heck of a card that I have no answer to, and I'm also not doing anything. Come on. Okay. Alright, so I'm not making land drops, which is a problem. But I guess Geist Channeler is... It's not quite a land drop, but it is something. My opponent really just played a Smashing Success on turn 4 instead of a Fearsome Whelp, huh? Huh. On the bright side, once this hand does go off, things are going to be bonkers. Yeah, that's true. If we actually, like, draw lands and don't keep getting our lands blown up, this hand does do something eventually. How common is it for you to get Platinum opponents in Best of 3 Alchemy? Very uncommon. This is weird and new. Yesterday we were playing against pretty much nothing but meta decks. The last couple of decks, really. Or the last couple of days. I'm not sure why suddenly it's decided to start matching me up against low-ranked, kind of janky decks. I'm assuming it's just chance. New to MTG Arena, thinking of trying Alchemy, good idea or bad idea? I think that's a totally fine idea. I don't know the best sort of advice to give when it comes to starting out in Arena and like what sort of formats are the most budget friendly. I think that the format is fun once you have a deck for it. But it's been so long since I've had to start with a new collection that I think I'm a little out of touch on like what the best recommendations in that way are. And okay, my opponent timed out. This is, I guess, a game of Magic, technically. If you have the wildcards to burn and enjoyed Soul Time Atom Standard, go for it. Everyone is trying to do their busted thing before the opponent does their busted thing. In the context of Alchemy, I don't know if that's been my impression. at least initially, Alchemy has seemed more like a mid-range format than any other format I've played in like the last 3 or 4 years. It's a new version of mid-range, but it has felt more like decks are beating one another through value engines rather than through big, dumb combos. Or even just all aggro. The mid-range has all been trying to do busted things too. Well, yeah, in the sense that, like, playing Siege Rhino is busted, right? Alchemy is the first format where trickery is legal and no one's trying to make it work. Don't remind anyone that trickery is legal. Because that's probably the only reason why nobody's trying to make it work yet. There will always be someone trying to make trickery work. So I guess my hope is that the opponent's Siege Dragon doesn't do too much damage to me. If I miss this land drop and have to cast Discover the Formula, hoping to hit one of my, what? 3 remaining spell lands, I'm going to have to discard a lot of cards to hand size, which will not be pleasant. Oh, I really want to cast this Break Expectations to take that Siege Dragon. Oh, is that a bad idea? It is. I need to make this land drop. I'm not making this land drop. Okay, Sorin goes bye-bye, Lier goes bye-bye. No, I can get rid of one of the Break Expectations. This is very awkward. Trickery Snow deck. What snow card gets paid off with trickery? Oh, Tibble's no fun. I guess holding on to the second Break Expectations wouldn't have done anything because I wouldn't have had a second black source. Alright, how cheap is this thing? 5 mana, so they can't cast that. So I can divide by 0 something, probably Tybalt. Oh, Tybalt's Rager being a mana sink is so annoying. Okay, so land drop, that's good. Break Expectations, get rid of Siege Dragon, because a 2-mana Siege Dragon sounds kind of scary. This is the strangest game of Magic I have played in a while. So I imagine I'm going to be divide by zeroing here. I think that I want to divide by 0 the Tybalt before they have the opportunity to do anything with it. I already used my Tutor a Land card. I see. That's painful. Teachings of the Archaic seems pretty bad. I think I'm actually just looting away a Lier to have a better chance at finding a land drop next turn. Mythic Massacre is almost good here. We just need to actually find another black source. Magistrate Scepter, sure. I don't mind that at all. Zorn, sure. I don't mind that at all. And am I supposed to divide by 0 here? Probably the Fearsome Whelp? To deny them the treasure? I think I'm still probably like supposed to loot away and discover the formula here. Just really want a black source. Blood on the snow! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay. Geist Channeler. Discount Discover the Formula. Cast Discover the Formula. More double black board wipes. Oh my. Okay, so our opponent has a deck that makes a lot of treasures, it would seem. Okay, I would love to find a black source. Blood on the Snow, if we top deck a black source, legitimately pretty good here. That's a good sign. I think. Maybe. Probably should have blocked the Zorn. Because I might just be required to find a black source here in order to not die. I was hoping that would be a swamp so that we could get the Geist Channeler back with Blood on the Snow. Kind of sad that we can't. But kind of good that... How much less do you cost? 1? So I can only do X equals 5? You're probably the only person on the planet I'd say howdy to. Howdy, Ogpog. Well, I will consider myself flattered in that case. This is so sad. Why did our opponent have to blow up our snow basic earlier? That was so mean. Alright, opponent. You want to take 1 damage for my Geist Channeler? We can always replay Blood on the Snow later with Lier. That's true. Alright, destroy all creatures. Pay with a black snow mana. We take 1 damage. Do all of our Divide by Zeros in here cost 2, or do any of them cost 1? 2. So if I play Lier, I can Divide by 0 and then Hand Hate the Tybalt. I kind of need my opponent to not find exactly Devil's Play. That would be bad. The cost reductions are from Discover the Formulas. Technically, some of the cost reductions on the graveyard are from Geist Channelers. But not on any of our Discover the Formulas. I was hoping Chris had seen the light and had become a committed mono-green player. If I'm going to be committed to anything, I think at this point I'm a committed Lier player. The way Lier plays out is just like too much exactly the kind of thing I adore. Oh, are they debating minusing Tybalt? I don't know if... It's not bad. Although I do love the fact that I get to cast this Meathook Massacre for 2 mana to kill all of them. What you got for me here, opponent? 1? 1 devil? Okay. Feel like your title should contain a warning to the effect of don't try this at home. If I was responsible, that would probably be the case. Okay, so I could pay 3 life to play Discover the Formula into Lier. That's only mostly a horrible idea. I could just choose not to kill the Devil token this turn, I suppose, and play the Lier instead. That's probably what I'm supposed to do. And then we have some tough choices. I could Environmental Sciences. Gaining life is cool, and hold up Divide by 0, which plays around Devil's play, right? Alternatively, I could play the Seagate Restoration as a land, bounce Tybalt, and then hand hate the Tybalt. That's probably what I'm supposed to do. Let's get a Mascot Exhibition. It's not like our opponent has many cards. Let's get rid of that Tybalt. I remember when you played no Lier in blue-red. I underrated how good Lier was against aggro. I spent the entire time... Okay, 1 damage, not equal to its power. I spent the entire time evaluating Lier like an anti-control card and dismissing it because it wasn't good against control. Discovering that Lier actually is very good against aggro was the thing that turned me around on it. Although it is better against control if you play hand-hate spells like Break Expectations, which is what I kind of like about this blue-black shell. Okay, you have gotten your Devil up to 3 power, which does mean that it trades with Lier. Well, that's a success. I think I'm fine with that, since I have Discover the Formula in hand still. Okay, opponent does nothing. I have to be super happy with that, right? Oh, I can't divide by 0 a Devil token? That doesn't really leave me with an answer to that Devil token, does it? Huh. I guess I can just Meathook Massacre for 3? It's probably what I'm supposed to do, right? I have a cheaper Discover the Formula, yeah? Yeah. So, cast Discover the Formula, Meathook Massacre for 3. Lier dies? Lier dies, huh? How am I answering this annoying little Devil token? Maybe I just don't? Do I just not answer the annoying little Devil token? I'm gonna go with I just don't. Your go, opponent. No plans to answer annoying little Devil token. I can just take 4 damage, right? It's not like that would make me dead to killing the Devil token or anything. But yes, the plan is to let them... Ooh. I was going to say let them put a counter on the Devil, then divide the pick, block with Lier, and probably Discover the Formula in response. But if they have a Goldspan Dragon, that's kind of annoying. So, do I want to Discover the Formula in response to that? I can still divide by 0 the Goldspan, divide by 0 the pick, trade Lier. Yeah, I guess I'm probably okay with that, I think. Or we can just draw Fading Hope. That works too. Let's use the more expensive divide by 0 up. Don't really want Teachings of the Archaics, so let's loot away... I don't know, Meathook Massacre? Hey! A basic! Huzzah! Yep, we'll get a counter on that. It attacks. It goes away. Sure, Joy Disruption, why not? It's technically a land. Come on. Play the tap land. I don't think I need the mana this turn. Attack. Don't really want to deal with a Goldspan Dragon if I don't have to, so we'll replace it with something worse. The fact that Break Expectations doesn't cost mana, or doesn't cost life, is just so cool. I just give my opponent trash. Oh yeah, sure, Replicating Ring, you can have it. No worries. And I just get rid of an actual threat? Ah, this feels so good. It's like Thoughtseize, except it doesn't suck. Yeah, you got a Replicating Ring, opponent. Good luck. Heal with Sciences. We could, but I would have had to discard a hand size, right? I guess I'm about to cast, like, 2 Discover the Formulas, so maybe I should have done that? What's the sequencing on this? 5 mana Discover the Formula, then no, I can't do 5 and then 3. So I guess I'm doing 3 mana Discover the Formula, and then 3 mana Discover the Formula? Take care, Hotbog. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck with the cube studies. Opponent weighing their options, whether to put a counter on my Lier or not. I guess I could just cast the 5 mana Discover the Formula, because I'm going to be discarding a hand size anyway. Keep the 3 mana Discover the Formula. I guess if I had thought about it, I probably regret playing the Jwari Ruins, because I could have played the 5 and the 3 mana Discover the Formula for my graveyard if I had an untapped mana here. Didn't really pay attention and count my mana. No, I definitely want to play the cheaper ones, because I want to play like 2 Mascot Exhibitions next turn. So the cost reduction is the important aspect here. The game really starts to chug once you have a bunch of instances of cost reduction on cards that you're casting. I wonder exactly how it's coded that makes that the case. Okay, a 1-mana Geist Channeler is actually a ritual. You're going to make this Mascot Exhibition cost 2. And we're going to play this 2-mana Key to the Archives. And I was really hoping we'd get a Time Walk there. I guess we'll get this Approach. It is technically a win con. Get rid of Infernal Grasp. Play Mascot Exhibition. And then when the game is done lagging, we'll play Mascot Exhibition again. And then I guess I should have left up triple blue, huh? The 1 black mana doesn't actually do anything here. Oh well, small mistake. I don't think it's going to cost us the game. We will discard this Sorin and this Break Expectations, which I don't really expect to be very good at this point. Alright, opponent. What does your 1 final card do? A land, not much of anything. That ought to mean we actually somehow won this one, despite our opponent oh so rudely playing Smashing Success. We found the necessary black source in time, is more or less entirely what this game came down to. There we go. Okay. I've noticed a real performance drop whenever you have Lier and more than 7 spells to flashback with them. I wonder if it's... I haven't really ran into the slowdown with Lier other than when I was playing Discover the Formula decks, but maybe that's just that I haven't played decks that get graveyards that big except in Discover the Formula decks. Okay, so our opponent's playing mono-red Treasure Dragons. What cards are good against mono-red Treasure Dragons? I'm going to say not Sorin and probably not Blood on the Snow. Meathook Massacre isn't great, but let's go with like Hullbreaker Horror and Disdainful Stroke and maybe like an Infernal Grasp. And then we can cut what? I guess I don't really need Hullbreaker Horror. Hullbreaker Horror might just not be good, but it's not bad. Seems better than most of these other cards. Just one color away from Mono Blue Snow. And we're almost there. We're only 2 spells away from not being a snow deck at all, but that's still technically enough to be considered a snow deck, right? Dang it, Alchemy, I tune in and see that my opponent has a weapon rat, and the first thought is, LOL, what a noob deck. Well, they do actually authentically have Goldvein Pick in their deck, but I suppose that kind of makes sense for a treasure-themed mono-red deck. The amount of work Auto Tapper has to do grows really fast with N. Oh, so Auto Tapper gets a lot more confused if you have functionally 14 cards in hand. Got it. That makes sense. Yeah. The discount making it worse, I would also believe. Okay. We have all of our snow basics, which isn't actually helpful because we boarded out all of our snow cards, and this hand doesn't do anything. So we're going to mulligan it, and we're going to keep this hand because it's the same hand, but slightly not as bad. And then we're going to draw Discover the Formula for our Geist Channeler, and everything will be perfect. I guess I can actually just play out all my lands on curve now. I would like my opponent to not play Discount Dragon. They did not yet. They're still thinking about it. Or maybe they're just weighing playing a Goldvein Pick. Okay. Nothing is the final result. I could play the Break Expectations here, but given my opponent didn't have a 2-drop, I think I'm happier Jwari Disruptioning a possible 3-drop, and then next turn Break Expectations while holding up Disdainful Stroke, or Break Expectations into Geist Channeler, depending on what we see. I gotta say, the island and the swamp go very well together. Or my opponent could play the turn 3 Fearsome Whelp. Got him. The color of, like, purple and blue mix so well. I really dig that. Jumped AFK a bit. Did we fetch the cat? No, we did not. I think we... Did we start a new game? Did I just totally forget? I'm unsure. I could take this Plundering Barbarian and leave the Tibble, but I just don't care about the Plundering Barbarian, so that seems wrong. 2 games? Oh, no. Okay. See, this is why I ask chat to help me with things. I am completely incapable of remembering things. So when we're done with this match, help me remember to go snag the kitty. Can I ask what Alchemy is? I don't know anything. Alchemy is a new arena-only format. It is standard cards, but there is a small set edition of cards that are these A22 cards that have new digital-only mechanics, and also it includes rebalanced version of existing cards. So, for example, Goldspan Dragon in this format no longer makes a treasure whenever it's targeted by a spell, and Alrin's Epiphany is nerfed to no longer get a cost reduction when foretold, and only makes tokens if it was foretold. So always costs 7 mana, and casting it from hand doesn't make blockers. Chariot and a couple of other cards also got changed. Some got nerfed, the good ones got nerfed, and then some things like some of the old uncommon sagas got buffs. Okay, well, I think we're discounting this Seagate Restoration and attempting to play a Seagate Restoration, which means I probably don't want to cast any of these spells. I'm not entirely sure the Chariot change is that much of a nerf. Crew 2 on a 4/4 is bonkers. Or monk-ass. I read that wrong. Yeah, but Chariot being an 8/8 versus Chariot being a 6/6 is a pretty big difference. And so often the crew was just whatever creature you played that didn't have haste next turn, that functionally the crew cost I don't think changes much. That was a good untapped land draw. Oh, and the best part of this is now whenever I cast like 4 copies of Discover the Formula for the rest of the game, I don't have to discard cards. Nice. CK Restoration is actually a decent card when it costs 5 mana. So our opponent gets to activate Treasure Chest this turn. 4 of Seagate. I still don't want to spend 3 life to play my lands untapped, though. But if any deck could play it, I think this is probably the deck that could manage it. 5 treasure tokens. Okay. Don't mind that. So this time around, we get to play Key to the Archives. You've got 20 life. What's a meager 12? There's a lot of games where I've only got 3 life, though. A proof of the existence, or a proof of the lack of existence, of a fast, exact solution to the auto-tapper problem is actually the major unsolved problem in computer science. The major unsolved problem? Not a major unsolved problem? And on that note, is it that we don't have a proof one way or the other? Or do we not know if a proof one way or the other even exists? Are you claiming that auto-tapper is NP complete in some sense? I know exactly enough to like slightly follow along with these kind of discussions, but not enough to actually know anything that's happening in them. Okay, now I imagine I'm not supposed to board wipe my opponent's 3 powers of creatures, and I'm instead supposed to play Key to the Archive because it's Key to the Archive. Are we gonna spend 5 mana to kill my Geist Channeler opponent? Yes, we are! Oh, bless you, opponent. You make me smile. I guess I'm probably best off getting rid of Jwari Disruption here. I feel like holding on to the Infernal Grasp for the long run is probably a good idea. I know almost all of the words that were in that conversation, and I even know what most of them mean when put in that order. Not knowing all of them is the complication. Alright. Opponent does 3 damage. And then makes their hand a little cheaper. Okay. I guess we're not making a land drop this turn, which is unfortunate. Because making land drops is my favorite thing. So we Meat Hook for 2, and then we play Geist Channeler to make Time Warp cheaper. I could have played Time Warp this turn, but I'd rather take, well, the time to wait and see if we can get something in hand to make it a little more of a benefit. Plus, reducing the cost before we cast it means that it's cheaper when we eventually find a Lier. It's probably fine too. I guess I could have just played Geist Channeler and then played Time Warp, but then I was going to make my Geist Channeler... By playing Meat Hook Massacre before the Geist Channeler, I make it so the opponent can't kill the Geist Channeler with Cinderclasm, which probably doesn't matter, but the opponent has demonstrated having 3 2s and 2 2s in their deck that Geist Channeler blocking is kind of relevant. And now the opponent can play a giant 6-mana flying hasty dragon that I can just Infernal Grasp. No complaints about that interaction whatsoever, should the opponent provide me with the opportunity to do so. Lier into Time Walk seems very, very good, and so far has been very, very good. It's kind of silly how Key to the Archive can hit a bunch of good spells, but like Time Warp is almost always the best spell by a just terribly huge margin. So Key to the Archive has only 1 card. It lets you gain life and then win 7 turns later. You shuffle your deck to ruin it, like if another search card is used. If you mean Approach of the Second Sun, then yes. Key to the Archives does have Approach of the Second Sun. Okay. Very well, opponent. And if you shuffle it... Did you mean to cast Burn Down the House to kill my... Huh, okay. Well. If you shuffle your library, Approach of the Second Sun, once you eventually draw the second copy of Approach of the Second Sun, if you cast it from hand and you have cast a Approach of the Second Sun previously that game, then you win the game. Or if you resolve it after casting it from hand and you have previously cast a different Approach of the Second Sun before in that game, then you win the game when the non-first copy resolves. If that makes any sense at all. It's not the most intuitively worded card. But shuffling does not affect how the card behaves when it resolves. It only changes when you draw the card. It may make you draw the card sooner. It may make you draw the card later. This game feels a bit like bullying. Yeah, I'm not super completely thrilled about... I really should be using this Key to the Archive rather than lands, because the opponent does play Artifact Destruction. I'm not super completely thrilled about the fact that, for some reason, Arena is matching us up against Platinum decks with weird cards, but What can you do?